Okay? When you go to the actual manufacturer's website and find the exact same product that they're talking about, the manufacturer specs, on it, it said that the ORP had a range of a negative 500 to a positive 500. Okay? Just so you know, our machine has a rating about a negative 7 to 800. And again, depending on source water, it depends on a lot of things. Negative 7 or 800, all the way to a positive 1,000 plus. That's the strong acidic, the sanitizing water. Okay, has to have a super high positive ORP. Well, saying that you can go down as low as 860 on a negative ORP and as high as a positive 1,200, but when the manufacturer specs say negative 500 to a positive 500, that is a dramatic difference. Okay, dramatic. Same thing when their specs say that their pH levels go from 4 to 10. Well, I don't know if you guys understand the way that the pH scale works with the logarithmic scale, but it's not 1 every time you go from like 7 to 8. That's not 1, that's 10 times. Okay? So 7 to 9 is actually 100 times. 7 to 10 is 1,000 times. 7 to 11 is 10,000 times more alkaline than neutral. Okay? So a difference between a top rating of 10 and a top rating of 11.5, that's huge, but you have to understand that. You have to know that in order to be able to go, wait, I call shenanigans. Okay? So it's important that you find that stuff out. Also, the type of power, the power supply itself is also a very important consideration. This right here, let's see. I printed this out real quick because this is about the power supply. And it's important that you know what this is. It's important that you understand what that is, because if you understand what our power supply is, how it was built, why it was built the way it is, why it's a combination of an SMPS, a transformer, and a thing called a MOSFET, okay? If you understood why all those things were put together to make our power supply, then you'll understand why ours is superior to any other machine on the market. Okay, so find those things out. The components themselves. Look, if you really want to be able to go, okay, I get the difference, find one of these other machines. Find one of ours, put them side by side, and then just start feeling it. Feel the hoses. Look at the hoses. Look at the difference between a half-inch hose and a quarter-inch hose. Okay? It's the quality difference of the components is so obvious, but not if you don't have the opportunity to see one of these other machines. So it's important that you got to figure out a way to be able to see one of these things. When there's a training at the office, or if you know somebody has some of these that you can actually inspect, check it out, because I can assure you there is no better testimonial about that than you experiencing it personally. There really isn't, okay? Because if you see it, feel it. I felt one, and I was just like, it looked really, it was shiny, and it looked like it was metal, and I walked up to it, and it was plastic. And it felt so cheap. I was like, what is this? And that was one of those moments. It was one of those aha moments where I realized, okay, you know what? These guys want to try to compare themselves like it's apples to apples. And it's, look, we're not in the same universe, man. It's apples to lug nuts. It's not even, what they have isn't even, in the same realm as what we have. Okay? And I think one of the biggest things too, ability. Now somebody might go, well, a water ionizer makes ionized water. So, they're all pretty much the same. Well, they're not. One of the clearest indicators of that is the fact that our machine has the ability to be used in a commercial application. That's one of the biggest things. Well, why would that be such a big thing, Jerry? Well, I don't know. Let's think about that. First off, do you think that a commercial application is going to require a little bit more in the way of checking things out before it's implemented? Do you think it might need a little bit more in the way of certifications and testing protocols to make sure that whatever's there is going to be safe enough for public consumption or for use in a public type venue? See, all of these things are very important aspects. And the reality is the Enagic machines, actually by law, if you're going by the actual certifications that are required to have it in a commercial application, the Enagic machines are the only ones that should be in any kind of commercial application. And quite frankly, they're the only ones that can really handle the rigorous requirements of a commercial type piece of equipment. Because our machine can actually handle that high usage and constant usage, where some of these machines, quite literally, man, if you run them for longer, 15 or 20 minutes, they shut themselves down for a half an hour. That's kind of tough to tell your customers, oh, can you wait a half an hour because our machine that makes the water that we're going to make your soup with, it won't turn on. Okay, so understand those things about the technology, very important.